going for my walk today. And like usual, man, it's like this is the time for me to do these updates because it's, I don't know, I'm in the frame of mind, I'm motivated. Went out last night and was with some friends. One of my friends had a 55th birthday party, and I got invited by her to go on the party bus. Bad idea for me, I didn't do too well. So, needless to say, I probably won't be able to do that again. It's just not a good idea, especially somebody who's trying to recover from a heart attack. So, on to the business at hand. I don't have a bunch to update today. So what I want to talk about a little bit is one of the things that I'm doing that's a therapy, if you will. So I've been following a doctor, a plant-based whole food, no oil doctor online who has a lot of credibility. If you guys have ever seen the movie Forks Over Knives, he's one of the doctors off that show. And essentially, long story short, he has, I'd say he claims, but he doesn't claim it. He's got proof. He's got hundreds of patients who this has helped, probably thousands at this point. I know he's been doing it for like 30 years. His credentials are he's a doctor, and he's a heart doctor. That's his specialty. He used to do stents and bypasses and all the normal surgeries that heart doctors do. And he noticed that back then his patients weren't really healing. He would just simply treat the symptoms, and then the people would 2 or 3 or 5 years later need another bypass or have another heart attack or whatever reason. They really didn't improve. He just kept them from dying essentially. And he got frustrated with this, started doing a bunch of research, and long story short, he found that plant-based nutrition and getting rid of animal products makes the heart clear up, get healthier and stronger. And so there's a ton of data. I'm not going to talk about that. What I want to talk about is the fact that his biggest platform is that you do not consume oils. Oils damage the endothelium. And if you don't know what the endothelium is, it's the thin layer inside your blood vessels that is the protective layer, and it helps with transport, keeping in and outs working. It's very important to you. If your endothelium's bad, then you'll have heart problems. Or not just heart problems, you'll have vascular problems that could lead to brain problems. It can lead to your heart attacks. It can lead to embolisms. So blood issues are affected by this endothelium layer. So he says, and you can research this too, says that nitric oxide output is increased substantially when you consume greens. It almost doesn't matter which green it is. Even things like broccoli and Brussels sprouts, which are, they're not leafy greens, but they're also green. And then you put a little bit of vinegar on it. He likes to put balsamic vinegar on his, or apple cider vinegar would work. Plain white rice vinegar would probably work. So vinegar enhances the nitric oxide quality of the greens. He also says it's better for them to be cooked and not raw. So you could, I'm sure eating them raw, because I have a raw salad every day at work. It's one of my favorite meals actually. And I put balsamic vinegar on it, a few drops. And it's not cooked, but I think that you probably still benefit. I don't know the percentage of increase, but that's the biggest takeaway from this, is that's what I've been doing. Also, he advocates for you to do this. Just eat as much as his fist, he says. You don't have to have a ton. He actually does it as a snack. It doesn't have to be the meal because it doesn't need to be a ton. But this property of the body making the nitric oxide, which is what gives the endothelium its ability to vasodilate. So when you vasodilate, your vessels open. It's good. It helps your heart flow. When you take a nitroglycerin tablet, whenever people have, I've got some in my wallet, by the way. I keep those with me because if I ever get like chest pains or a heart attack, I guess, you can take that tablet and it'll make your blood dilate, your vessels dilate. When it opens up, if you have a clot, you know, that clot will be opened up for a while and your blood flow is restored, so you can stop or put off a heart attack if you do this. They got a jump. Those kids have a jump thing over here. I'm sure it's pretty loud. So everybody's having fun. It's a very sunny day. It's actually hot, but I need some vitamin D, so I don't mind the sun. Also, I've been eating clean, and so my ability to regulate my body temperature is better. I think heat is probably more tolerable because of it for me. But anyways, your vessels with the endothelium layer, vasodilation happens when it has nitric oxide. So the greens, balsamic vinaigrette, compounds your ability to do this. That's a good thing. You want that. If you don't have that, if you have poor endothelial health and they don't dilate and you don't have enough nitric oxide, they don't expand. And the contraction and expansion are a natural part of your vessels when it's appropriate. So you give it that function back, the endothelium becomes very strong, and then he calls it heart attack proof. So you become heart attack proof. And he's got patients that have gone on 12, 15 years, never had another heart event in their life. If they stuck to this plan, this way of eating, it's not a problem for me. If you guys have seen my channel for a while, at certain times I've always been somewhat plant-based to a degree. Sometimes I've been totally vegan, sometimes I'd been pescatarian, sometimes I'd been vegetarian. So I've ditched the sources of saturated fat, which are animal products. Your body, your liver makes cholesterol, and that's where you'll get what you need, and you need to consume a little bit of dietary fat, but I'm just getting it from plants. So I'm eating clean as I can. I actually enjoy it. I'm starting to get to the point where I actually like eating these greens, and I didn't think I would. I put a decent amount of spices on them and way less salt. I just use a little bit of the green salt that I've got a video on here for too. It's good. I actually like it. My craving for salt's getting lower because I've been taking it away. It's just important. Salt just raises your blood pressure. Obviously, a heart patient doesn't need high blood pressure. The final thing I want to say about the greens, any green that you like. I've been trying Swiss chard, actually. So that's my new thing, is I'm trying to try greens that I didn't. It can be spinach. My wife only eats spinach, and it's fine. It's not like it'll be worse, but variety's better. And so I had some Swiss chard today. I boiled it. So he boiled it for 6 minutes, he says. And he wants you to eat these greens, little green snack, if you will, 6 times a day. And here's the reason. He said you can't sum up your 6 meals into one big meal, because the effect of your body doing this nitric oxide boost, I haven't dug into the science of why this is important, but he says it's his specialty, so I'm not going to question it. And his patients have great results. It only lasts for 2 hours. So apparently if you ate all your greens at once, 2 hours later, that effect has started to diminish, and you need to eat greens again. So that's why he says every 2 hours, if you can, to do this. Now, I don't eat greens 6 times a day. I can't. I just don't have the I take greens with me all over the place, and they need to be cooked. So I just eat them probably 3 times a day, sometimes 4, sometimes 2. Either way, I think if you even ate them just once a day, but this guy really wants to get you to the point where you never have another heart attack, and he said this is key, it's crucial. So that's my takeaway. Even if you're not going to go plant-based, it's not a platform that I'm choosing right now to be like, you got to go plant-based. I'm not here to do that. All I'm doing is documenting what I'm doing. I use this channel as that platform, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. The reason I even went vegetarian a long time ago was, this thing feels weird. I had a major depression and actually a suicide attempt. This is how old was I? I was like 35, 15 years ago. And I had a buddy He's one of my best friends, and he's saved my life so many times I can't even. He's just the greatest guy. I love him with all my heart. He came over and took care of me when I was going through that ordeal for a little bit. My wife at the time, really, she was done with me in many ways, and I don't blame her. I was in a terrible. I wasn't a good husband, but he convinced me. He said, Chris, you ain't got nothing to lose. You've tried this, you've tried that, you've tried all this. Try to go plant-based. And so he had me go plant-based, and it worked. The things that I was experiencing at the time, including the depression, I had some physical problems, some mental problems. It all seemed to like magically go away. So it's just my documentation. I'm a human. If these things worked for me, they'll probably work for you. So I'm here to tell you what I've been doing and documented on my channel. So if the future, if I'm not here, my kids can see this. I want them to learn from me as well, and I teach them as much as I can in person. And but I'm not going to be here forever. And if it's worthy, I record it. If it's not, you guys don't never see it. So, well, obviously we want to put our best foot forward all the time. But that's why I did it. It's worked for me in one way or another. If I don't abuse it, obviously I was abusing it when I had the heart attack. And I'm going to make a video on that. I'm going to make a video on what I did wrong and how I've fixed it, so that it's very detailed, so that some people that are experiencing similar can maybe mirror their life and see if it's an idea that would work for them. Wow, I thought this would be short. It's about average. I seem to rant for about 10 minutes, don't I? All right, guys. So I'm sweating my ass off out here. It's good for me. See ya.